Today we're going to be talking about a very particular part. It's called a Lund Boost Box Omega. It's basically going to take an analog signal from a supercharger or turbocharger and turn it into a digital signal to be able to display numbers in terms of boost on an NGauge. We're going to try to hook that up today. This is the Boost Box Omega itself. It's made by Lund. This is going to be the device itself. So right here on the top, there's a small nipple here. You're actually going to connect your vacuum line from your engine to this. Depending on what kind of supercharger you have or turbocharger, you're going to have to kind of figure that out. I'll show you what I did coming off of a VMP Gen 2R supercharger. That would also be the same for like a Roush supercharger. This unit comes with very little instructions on how to hook it up. There's not a whole lot involved with knowledge you're going to go into the game with this, so hopefully I can help you out a little bit. This nipple and the other nipple that you buy to go to your discharge pipe or your intake manifold, you're going to need to match up the nipple that you put in there. This is 1/8 inch hose, is the best I found. I'll show you what it looks like once we open this up later, and let me show you where I hooked up to the supercharger. Like I said before, on this setup here we've got 5.0 Coyote engine with a VMP Gen 2R supercharger. This car has an intercooler on it, so I'm actually tapping into the intercooler in the very back of it, near the firewall. There's a small plug that I removed with an Allen key. The fitting that you're going to be looking for is 1/8 inch national pipe thread by 1/8 inch hose bar. You can find it online. I did not find this at Lowe's. It also didn't come with the kit, but it's 1/8 inch NPT by 1/8 inch hose barb. That 1/8 inch hose barb seems to be the same size that's going to go to the Lund Boost Box. So all I did was, once I got that fitting in there, you're going to hook up the length of this tubing. Again, this is just found at any local parts store. I bought 6 feet of it. Hopefully that's enough. You're going to need to find a spot to route this safely, keep it away from anything hot like exhaust manifolds. I'm mounting the boost box inside the car. There is some electronics in it, and I would like to try to keep them as dry as possible. Once it's installed, we're just going to tuck it up underneath the dashboard, kind of around the pedal arrangement. I think I have a good spot picked out for this. We're going to route it behind the engine. And we're going to come in firewall right in this grommet here. There's a rubber grommet that came with my JLT intake. It actually is where the sound tube goes on a factory setup. Once you remove that sound tube, there's a plug here. So I'm going to try to cut a hole in that, and we're going to try to route the 1/8 tubing through there. So once you got your vacuum line hooked up to wherever it's appropriate on your forced induction setup, like I said, on mine, we're hooking it up to the intercooler. Depending on what you guys got going on, it's going to be a little bit different. But route your vacuum line to wherever you're putting your boost box. In my case, I'm going to try to get it up underneath the dashboard. If you have yours under the hood somewhere, just run the line to that. In my case, I'm going to run it behind the supercharger, and I have a couple other lines I'm going to zip tie it to in this general area. If you can see this stainless braided line here, that goes to the transmission for the clutch. I'm going to route it right along this stainless braided line. And we're going to come through this hole that I cut, which is going through the firewall and into the passenger compartment. One in each of the corners. You're going to take that off, start your car up, press this button and hold it in for 1 second. That links up the boost box with your NGauge. As you can see, this is a very complex circuitry in here. There's the chip, you can see the motherboard. There's a lot going on there. That's why I wanted to mount this on the inside of the car, because I really don't want that stuff to get wet. The box does look like it's pretty good construction. It looks like there was a little bit of a gasket on there. I'd still rather keep this dry. You guys mount it wherever you want. As far as getting your NGauge to read in the language that the boost box puts out, that's another story. It's a little bit difficult. Mine is an HP tuner. Lund is going to tell you that only a Lund gauge is going to work. I found that not to be true. So mine's an HP. You can use an HP or a Lund from what I've found, okay? So, to start this out, you're going to find this screen. This is the boot up screen. If you're in the gauge screen, just go to exit gauges. Once you're at this screen, go to diagnostics. Go to settings. Now you can do this with the car on or with the car off, I found. But if you have your vacuum gauge hooked up to your engine, don't hook up the vacuum gauge to the port on the boost box yet. And you're going to want to plug off the vacuum line if it's already hooked up. So make sure that the engine's not drawing a vacuum unnecessarily there, okay? You're going to scroll down to other inputs. Select other inputs. Okay, this analog 1 and analog 2, make sure that they're saying volts. After you have them both saying volts, you're going to X out of that. You can go into gauges. Connect to gauges. Once you get to the gauge screen, you're going to select which one of these boxes you want to basically be your boost. I selected this one, so just hold it and hold that in. Then once you get there, you're going to scroll through until you find the analog 1. Set that analog 1 to be in that box, which I've already done. You're going to then see a voltage reading on this box. Your voltage reading might be 1.04. Mine was flickering between 1.04 and 1.05. What you're going to do at that point is take whatever that voltage is, and you're going to go to a website. I'm going to show you on a piece of paper that I wrote down everything. You'll see the website, and it's going to give you a formula. I'm going to show you that right now. You can pause the video at this point if you want. The website's in the lower right-hand corner. If your voltage happens to be 1.04, use my formula. If you have a different voltage than 1.04, you're going to want to type that in at this website, and it's going to spit out this crazy formula here. This is the data that you need to put into your NGauge so that your boost box can read this language. It's connecting, and it has an auto shut-off feature because the car is not started right now. So I've put my language into this, so now this is actually reading in PSI. So I'm going to take the boost box here, and I'm just going to blow with my mouth into this port here, and you'll see the value on that change. And now I'm going to suck in on that port as though the engine was drawing a vacuum. So, as a rudimentary test, that's how you can tell that it's working. Once you get to that point, put your cap back on the Lund Boost Box, hook up your vacuum port to that, and mount it, finalize wherever you're going to mount it. Once you got everything calibrated with your NGauge reading to the Boost Box, we're going to put our cap back on. Just put your 4 screws in each corner. Once you get these screws back in, you can do your final mounting if you haven't already of your Boost Box Omega. Pretty cool name, by the way. Make sure you hook up your vacuum line. That's obviously the whole reason we're doing this, is to get a vacuum. So a couple other things I should mention with this. Obviously we have a wire that has a proprietary end on it. You need to plug that into the back of the NGauge. I've chose to mount the NGauge itself in the dashboard of the Mustang. In order to do that, we had to ditch one of the vents. I used some double-sided sticky tape. None of that stuff's really included with when you buy an NGauge or when you buy this Lund Boost box. You're gonna have to get a little bit creative. I'd be more than happy though if you guys have any questions on how I did my install. Just send me a personal message. I'm gonna get back to you right away. I'm always there to help out, and if you guys have questions, comments on anything else, certainly let me know. I'd be more than happy to help with that.